morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today, I've picked out 5 Pokemon for you from the new set, which I think are good. Not like, they're alright. No. When I say good, I mean good. Alright, so, let's start off with one of the best Pokemon around, one of the best artists around, and a Pokemon that can be full-on invincible. That, ladies and gentlemen, is a combination which is going to make me warm and fuzzy on my insides. What am I talking about? I am talking about the new Komala. I have a serious soft spot for Komala, and we've got an illustration here by the lovely Hyagonasuke, and honestly, this is one of my very favourite artworks in the set, and it's one of my very favourite cards in the set. I am a very happy what's he right about now. Why do I love it so much? Well, look, the attack is actually kind of useful. 2 colourless energy, 60 damage plus sleep. It's fine. It's not a lot of damage. You're a colourless Pokemon, so you're not hitting anything for weakness. And you go to sleep. It's not exactly ideal. Where it becomes ideal is in the ability, 'twas all a dream. Shout out to the lovely Antoine Boulet, who has provided our translation here. If this Pokemon is asleep, when it gets knocked out by damage from an opponent's Pokemon's attack, your opponent doesn't take any prize cards. How cool is that? It's immensely cool, ladies and gentlemen. It is immensely cool. I'm a huge fan of this. I'll be honest with you. I absolutely love this. I think this is wonderful. Obviously, Komala is that Pokemon that kind of very much revolves around sleep. And this is just another one of it. And this is not the kind of Pokemon we can use all the time, but this is one that can work very nicely indeed. If anyone's wondering, we've had 3 Komala in the past. 1, if it's active and you attach an energy to it, it falls asleep. 1, if it's active and you attach an energy to it, it falls asleep. It's an alternate art reprint promo. And then 1, if it remains asleep between turns, you put 6 damage counters on your opponent's active Pokemon. This is my favourite one so far. And essentially what you want to do with Komala is get a KO with it and cross your fingers. Now, annoyingly, we don't actually have Slumbering Forest right now. We do in Expanded, we don't have in Standard, because Slumbering Forest would mean you had a basically 75% chance of staying asleep. It would make it way better. As it is, half the time you're going to wake up, half the time you're going to stay asleep. I adore this. I think this is wonderful. Because, essentially, if I'm in the active and I use Komala, I take a KO, there is a 50% chance that I stay asleep and that my opponent can KO me, but they don't take a prize. I essentially buy a turn while taking a KO. And sure, this isn't going to be perfect. I mean, really here, unless you're playing some kind of energy acceleration, you're going to want to use twin energy or double turbo energy. And double turbo means you don't actually do 60, you do 40. Although do remember, you can always go and whack a choice bout on there. And choice bout means that you will, you'll be doing 70 with a double turbo, 90 with a twin energy. And actually, that's all right. Again, what we're really looking to do here is we are looking to just take a KO on an already damaged Pokemon. That's the goal. Nothing more simple or complicated than that. We are looking to take a KO on an already damaged Pokemon so that we can essentially get a nice cheeky, a cheeky survival, quite frankly, so that we can survive and have a lot of fun and make sure that we're not really in any danger. And there, I need to remind you about that Feeble I showed you the other day. Now remember, Feeble says if your opponent has 2 or fewer prizes remaining, they cannot use any supporter cards on your bench Pokemon. Their supporter cards do not affect your bench Pokemon. And basically here, we're saying it turns off boss's orders. So there is potential here that what you can actually do is have a Feeble on your bench, and if your opponent's got, say, 2 prizes remaining, and you've got a bench full of Pokemon V with 1 Feeble, and your Komala stays asleep, they've essentially got 3 options. KO Komala, don't take a prize. Gust only Feeble, because Feeble can still be gusted. Take a prize, they don't win the game. Or then there is that possibility that Komala wakes up and they can actually attack and win the game. There are weird situations with this. A lot of the time, I'll be honest with you, what you're really going to be doing here a lot of the time is you are going to be betting that your opponent doesn't have gusting. If your opponent doesn't have gusting and you use this and stay asleep, your opponent loses a turn. And I don't know how much I like this as the core of your strategy, but when combined with Feeble as a weird tech, or even just as an I've got nothing else cross my fingers card, I love this. If I'm losing a game unless I get a KO without response, and my Komala stays asleep and my opponent doesn't have gusting, and I know there's a bunch of ifs, buts, and maybes going on here, I'm going to win the game. I love it. I'm giving it 5 Wassies. Okay, it's not an actual 5 Wassie card. It's more like between 3 and 4, but shh. I'm making the rankings here, and I adore this. Speaking of cards that people adore, not me, the new Ursa Luna. This is, of course, one of the new Pokemon from the Hisui region, and it's getting its first ever card here, kind of. And what we've got is an actual genuinely good Pokemon with 2 genuinely good attacks. For 3 energy, you deal 200 damage, discarding 2 energy from this Pokemon. You got 180 HP as well, I should mention, which is extremely high, but then again, it is a stage 2. And basically, if you whack a choice bout on Ursa Luna, you're doing 230, which, would you believe it, will KO basically any Pokemon V. And you're a colourless Pokemon, you can use whichever energy acceleration you prefer, and essentially, free energy, 200 damage, and look, it's a stage 2, it's free energy, and you need a choice belt. Lots of awkwardness going on, but it's a one-hit KO with a single prize Pokemon on a 2 prize Pokemon. That's something to get excited about. It's also got an attack for 1 colourless energy. Choose any 2 cards from your discard pile, reveal them, and put them into your hand. So it just gets any 2 cards from your discard pile back into your hand. This is great. It recovers any cards you like. It's hard to recover cards like Special Energy, things like Twin Energy, or item cards, things like Pokemon Catcher, and this will do it beautifully. What's the problem? It's a stage 2. If this was a stage 1, it would be like full-on broken. Because that second attack KOing Pokemon V is great. And, I mean, this is basically Junk Hunt on Sableye, the first attack. But instead of being limited to items, it can get anything. Both of these attacks are absolutely flat-out phenomenal. But are on a stage 2. And I'm sorry, it really is as simple as that. I think there are going to be some control decks that want to play this because getting any 2 cards back is way too powerful, way better than anything else we've got, and they go straight back to your hand to use next turn. And I love that you can KO Pokemon V with this, but it is a stage 2. You have been warned. I'm giving it between 3 and 4 Wassies. We don't give half Wassies. That would be barbaric. Lots to like about this, but to say it one more time, it is a stage 2. Now, Hisuian Sneezler comes along. And what we've got here, we saw the Pokemon V the other day. That one looked really good. This one, I mean, look. 2 energy, 60 damage. No. Just no. No. But it's got a rather lovely ability that says that while this Pokemon is on your bench, your active Pokemon's retreat cost is reduced by 2. Okay. Sounds good to me, ladies and gentlemen. Sounds good to me. And one thing I think we really need to bear in mind here is that when we hit the rotation, it's going to be kind of end of August, beginning of September, we are going to hit rotation and Air Balloon is going to be rotating out. Which means, with the exception of one, which is only for literally like 2 Pokemon, we're not going to have any tools that reduce retreat cost. So we are going to be needing something else. And you know what? This could be it. Now, I don't like Sneezler. I think I've made that pretty clear in my videos. And what's weird is that this is basically exactly the same as a Pokemon I adore. It's the Beware from Cosmic Eclipse. The Beware from Cosmic Eclipse had the exact same ability. While it's on your bench, your active Pokemon's retreat cost is 2 cost less. The thing is, Beware existed at a time when we had a bunch of tools where we could be retreating. And unfortunately, Sneezler doesn't. As it stands, and this is all subject to change, but as it stands, when Sneezler comes out, we're going to have basically 2 months left of Air Balloon, and that's it. With all of that borne in mind, this becomes a much more important Pokemon. Also, not for nothing, but it's got a retreat cost 1 less than Beware, which could actually be genuinely relevant. So I really like this. Not the Pokemon, but I like the ability. And I think in a situation where we are rolling into rotation with just terrible options for retreating, this could work. This could really work. So I suppose we've got to give it 4 Wassies. As much as I dislike Sneezler, I think this is an ability which a bunch of people are going to really want to play. It is also, I should point out, we've got that Zoroark now, which people are playing as a box deck because you can swap it with any stage 1 in your discard pile. So obviously, if you're playing that kind of deck, playing one of these just in case you need the retreat, yeah, that could be really good, ladies and gentlemen. That could be something that makes a pretty big difference. Cool. Moving on then, we have a Bronzong, and this Bronzong is going to look rather familiar indeed. Now we got a stage 1 Bronzong, which is good, I suppose. And we got a terrible attack, free energy, 100 damage, nobody cares. But we've got an ability which might look somewhat familiar. And what it says is, prevent all damage done to this Pokemon by attacks from your opponent's fire Pokemon. Yeah, it's the one from Team Up. It's not exactly the same, it's got a slightly different attack, etc. But in every way that matters, by which I clearly just mean the ability, this is the Bronzong from Team Up. It's back. And we actually saw this at one of the Players' Cups. We saw some players basically going, hey, Centiskorch is kind of big right now. Centiskorch doesn't play any non-fire Pokemon, and it was very literally a case of get Bronzong into play, Centiskorch has to scoop. Now, after that, people started playing Cramorant, so they had some kind of answer, but this could shut it down. And essentially, what Bronzong does now is exactly the same as what Bronzong did back in Team Up. If you end up in a situation where there's a fire deck you're trying to beat, use this. Job's a good un. Obviously, if they're playing non-fire stuff to counter you, blah, 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 fine. But I'm just saying, it's there, ladies and gentlemen. It is absolutely there. And I suppose, should also mention here, Zoroark again. Because obviously, in a Zoroark deck, this could be cool. It is actually not terrible. It's only 1 metal energy you need to attack. And you might need to attack occasionally with this, so yeah. Go for it, ladies and gentlemen. Go for it. I'm going to give this one again between 3 and 4 Wassies. We don't give half Wassies. That would be barbaric. You really here are relying on a situation occurring where basically your opponent plays an entire fire deck with no non-fire attackers. But, you know, we've literally seen that happen. And I want to finish off today with another wonderful Hayaganosuke card. It is the new Sudowoodo. Now, when I was having a look through the cards, looking at which ones I thought really deserved to be in this video, obviously this one jumped out because of the artwork. Seriously, look at Komala and Sudowoodo side by side. Tell me this is not one of the best artists working in the Pokemon TCG right now. I am in love. Okacheke is still number 1, but I think at this stage Hayaganosuke is number 2. I adore this artist. But also, I then started reading the card and it got better and better and better. So, if we take a look at the ability, if it's got any damage counters on, it gets free retreat. That's fine, I suppose. It's not a reason to play the card, but then again, how many decks out there really want free retreaters? How many decks out there really want to have something on the bench so that if a Pokemon gets KO'd, etc., they can put something active and then decide what needs to be active afterwards? Having a free retreater is a really good option. But that's not why I got excited about Sudowoodo. Why I got excited was the attack, 2 energy, 90 damage. And you do deal 30 to yourself, which is a bit rubbish, but again, gives you free retreat, not the end of the world. And essentially, I wasn't that excited about this card until I saw super effective glasses. That new tool card I showed you earlier, which says that if you're hitting for weakness, it's ×3, not ×2. So now if I'm hitting for weakness, I'm not hitting 90 damage. I'm not even hitting 180. I'm hitting 270. That means that Arceus V, goes down. I'm 10 away from the V-Star, so if I can drop like 1 damage counter, that will do. Gengar V goes down. Still a bit of a way from the V-Max, but still, that's not too bad. And now I'm getting really relevant KOs. Sure, it's 2 energy, and that is a little bit sad, but we got that Gritty Pickaxe card now. Lets you look at the top card of your deck, and if it's a fighting energy, you can attach it to one of your fighting Pokemon. So clearly, that's going to be something we can use here to get the energy on. And actually, although I don't think this is a stunning card or a game-breaking card, getting that second energy is not such a big deal. And with that new tool, 270 damage for 2 energy on a basic Pokemon, and again, I've said getting the second energy isn't that difficult. Yes. Absolutely yes. It's going to give it 3 Wassies. I hope I'm being too harsh on this. I really like this card. I really like it. I play a bunch of fighting decks. You better believe I'm going to be putting this into some of my fighting decks. But now it's over to you guys, ladies and gentlemen. I want to know what you think about this Sudowoodo. I want to know what you think about all the other cards. I want to know basically anything you want to tell me. So let me know in the comment section, would you? Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCG Radio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.